So before we get into now the close hold things with our forwards walking and get into this sort of closer proximity, getting into our walks and baldosas and basics, we want to now look at the followers walk. Okay? So for the followers, we want to maintain the same position, but there are a few differences.
There are.
There are.
There are a few. Well, contrary to what Josh said before, how you move forward and you wait until you start falling before you step ahead. When you move backwards, it's basically your leg that is going to move backwards projects itself first. There's no weight on it, so basically your weight is still at the front. But as soon as he leads me backwards, this actually helps so that your step is bigger if needed. Because I'm projecting, okay, but as soon as he leads me backwards, you see that this can open quite a bit, depending on how much he leads me to go backwards.
And this is a super important part here, where when you've projected and you're making sure that you allow your leader to push you backwards, it's making sure that you keep your frame good and that you keep your core tight, because otherwise your foot will just come down immediately and that really limits you from getting long steps. So Christina projects anyway, but then as soon as I push, just comes down onto her foot. Then we can't really go very far. We get these quite small steps and it just looks a bit naff. So what we want to do instead is, as Christina gets that feeling, she needs to give me enough resistance so that as I push that long step, she needs to feel that pressure to be pushed forwards. Okay? So the difference between the two, if she is deciding not to give good frame back, she just goes there, and all of a sudden I'm sort of invading her space, and she either has to lose her frame or she starts falling backwards. And then alternatively, we can go here, she projects, and then waits for that push. And our steps can be much longer and much more confident. And that's a super key to our tango, because as we say in classes, the best dancers in the world, 90% of their dance will just be walking. Okay?
Even if you project backwards and your leader decides that you're not going to step backwards, it's alright, because eventually you might do this and start playing with the foot that is projecting, because like I said, there's no weight on it. So even if he decides to go another direction, it still doesn't matter. It's still free. You can go anywhere.
Okay? So, we now have this beginning to walk backwards, okay? And there's one more thing we want to say for the followers, which is try and maintain connection with the floor as you're walking backwards. That's what's going to allow that leader to give you pressure to take those sort of large steps. If you don't allow your feet to keep connection with the ground, if you sort of just walk backwards like this, okay?
Very important. Very important. You always lift your feet off the ground if they say so. Unless you're doing embellishments, but that's another video.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if Christina decides she's just going to start lifting her feet up every time, okay? There's lots of things that are dangerous about this, both for her ankles, falling backwards, because when you sort of land on that ankle, if the leader suddenly pushes you, you're very unstable. But anyone who can see Christina's heels in this video will know that if you then try to dance in the milonga and Christina's walking, going like this, if that catches someone's ankle, that's not going to be an enjoyable experience for anyone involved.
Yeah.
Okay? So, we're going to go back as if we did the first exercise, so we were just walking around and trying to maintain this posture, but this time we're going to do the same thing backwards, so we're going to be projecting backwards, and this is going to prove to you that if your frame is good enough and you can keep your core tense, you don't need a leader to do this, okay? It's not like you're going to be like, oh, I've got no one to support me, and you sort of start falling. If you've got that frame, it's easy for you to continue walking backwards like this. Okay?
Frame and abs.
So, let's do it. So we'll do the exact same thing backwards, okay? if any of you are going, oh shit, I really want to rewind and watch that again, I can recommend watch Christina and not me. If you're looking for quality backwards walking, Christina. If you're looking for what I can probably achieve the first time I try it, watch me. Okay.